With the civil war in Syria and other regional instability in the Middle East, millions of people have had to flee their homes as refugees. There has been a lot of media dialogue about the refugee crisis, primarily focused on where the refugees go. I wanted to have a better sense of the scale of today's crisis, primarily, how does the number of worldwide refugees today compare to the number in recent years, and what are the historic trends that led to this moment? I wanted to learn these things for myself and also create a tool that others could use to do the same. I relied on data collected by the World Bank via the UN Refugee Agency, or UNHCR. The indicators I used were refugee population by country or territory of asylum and refugee population by country or territory of origin. The World Bank's definition of a refugee is essentially someone who meets the international standards of refugees and has filed for and been granted asylum or temporary protection. The indicators essentially serve as a snapshot of the worldwide refugee population broken down by country of asylum, which is where the asylum claim has been granted, and country of origin, which is the claimant's country of citizenship. I also use a total population estimator provided by the World Bank, which is a mid-year population estimate of all residents. I had hoped to look at a long period of time, but unfortunately the World Bank's data is pretty sparse prior to the 1990s, so I settled for the past 20 years between 1995 and 2014. Using Python, I downloaded the data from the World Bank Pandas API and used MySQL to query and store the data. I created an R-Shiny application to showcase the data in graphs and tables. Now I'll go through the application, and if you'd like to follow along, here is the link to the published site. The application starts at 1995. The first thing that you'll see is a total number of refugees count worldwide and the total refugee population in the United States. On the left, you'll see the population snapshot by country of origin with the top 10 highest countries displayed. On the right, you'll see the same, but for country of asylum. The graphs are in thousand, so the upper limit that says 4,000 represents 4 million. Each year, there are some countries who fail to provide data. They are mostly small nations, but here you can see the list. Let's hit play and see how trends changed over the past 20 years. In the mid-1990s, there are a lot of refugees from Afghanistan and many who have been granted asylum in Iran. By 1998, the worldwide level of refugees is declining, with no single country dominating the chart. This all changes in 2001, when the number of refugees from Afghanistan shoots up to 3.8 million. In the following year, this falls to about 2.5 million, but remains between 2 and 3 million until the very end of the data in 2014. In 2006, we also start to see a growing population of refugees leaving Iraq. You'll notice that Syria did not have many refugees leaving, but was actually one of the top destinations for refugees, granting asylum to a population of around 1.5 million refugees. This all starts to change in 2012, when the population of refugees leaving Syria grows to 729,000, then to 2.4 million, and finally to 3.8 million in 2014. Scrolling down, you'll see data in terms of proportionality to total population. I won't go through all 20 years again, but will point out that in 2014, 17% of Syria's population was accounted for by refugees who left. Further down, you'll see some static charts showing all-time highs in terms of refugee populations. Syria's 2014 refugee population represents the highest such figure in the past 20 years. On the other hand, Jordan is consistently home to one of the largest refugee populations. The final graph shows the annual refugee population snapshot in the United States each year. Generally, it has gone way down. Research revealed that the spike in 2006 was actually due to a change in the definition of refugees rather than an actual increase. In 2006, the UNHCR updated its definition of refugees to include resettled population, but it reverted back to its original definition in 2007. In 2014, the refugee population started to grow after hitting its lowest point in 2012, but it is still much lower than in previous years. The overall conclusion I took from this is that yes, we are in a unique historical moment in terms of the sheer volume of displaced individuals. If the trends in Syria mirror the trends that happened in Afghanistan after 2001, we should expect the high volume of refugees to continue for years, if not decades. To conclude, I learned a lot in this project not only about refugee migration trends, but also about Python and R Shiny. I hope you learned something too, and will look through the data on your own to see what conclusions you can draw.